to get healed, and it won't happen anyway because it's not mine. So having that setting to switch to these two only is great. Name tags you're going to want to keep stayed on. It doesn't affect your ZVZ performance at all anymore. They fixed that, and if people play with these off, they're just hurting themselves and their Zerg. They fixed that a long time ago. One other thing is, I can't remember where it is. Oh yeah, I guess I should go over this. Vanity skins. You want them on maybe in the city because you can't turn them off in the city, but when you're out in PvP, always turn them off, guys. Please. It's if you can't see what your enemy's wearing and you just see them walking around, I don't know, looking like let me put on my skin set real quick. This is gonna be fun. Where is it? This, and I don't know, for example, they've got that. What the hell are they engaging with? You have no idea. So turning your skins off in the open world is key.
Hey, Robin, I'm sorry to interrupt. Up until about 30 seconds ago, there was no audio, I guess, on the stream. So people.
Oh no!
Audio's fixed though.
Wait, should I go over it again? Because people are just seeing me fucking go through camera.
Everybody in the channel heard it, but everybody in the stream didn't. So
how many people we watching?
Quick recap.
Okay.
Like 15 now.
All right.
Sorry.
God. No worries. All right, here we go again.
We're all good now, I think.
All right. So basic recap. You want your widescreen enabled. I'm going to give Voltel a link on how to enable 1920 by 800 because when you're in this setting, you're going to see off-screen name tags, and that's it. You're not going to see actual people. So when you're in a ZVZ, or even when you're walking around the game, you should be playing in widescreen because you're going to be able to see people on your screen actually using spells, and that's when you're going to see them engage onto you instead of just an off-screen name tag where you can't get any information from, apart from if they're bad or good. Other things, always switch your visual settings down to low in ZVZ. More FPS equals less lag, which is what you want. I didn't go over this. Audio. Sound effects. I keep mine at a minimum. Around 15% is good. I like to hear what's going on. I can react quicker by hearing the sounds of spells getting popped than I can by actually like looking, because sometimes in a ZVZ, you're going to be surrounded, and if you hear like a Nighthound going shing, you know something's about to engage on you because they're getting ready to try and counter any wind wall defenses or firewalls. So playing with audio, some people don't like it, but I really do like it. But once again, it's completely up to you. Like I said, like some of the shit that I do could be completely wrong and you hate, and that's fine. I mean, everybody's up to it. They play how they want to play. But yeah, spell indicator intensity up to 100%. And then just have these two ticked: show for enemy damage, show for ally heal. That way you can only see the red circles from enemy damage coming down on the ZVZ battlefield, and the green circles are always going to be good. So that's going to be heals and defensives for you. You're never going to be able to like walk into a enemy rampant, for example, coming down, because you're going to not have it highlighted on the actual ground. So what else was it? Name tags always on. They fixed this, so it doesn't affect your game performance at all now. They fixed it a long time ago. If you have them turned off, you're pretty much fucking yourself and the overall Zerg. Not being able to see like out of alliance friendlies and shit like that, or who's coming in to attack you. And there was one other setting, I can't find it. Give me 1 second. Camera shake is aids, turn that on. Or off, shall I say. Where the fuck? Damage numbers off. That's a big hit to performance, by the way. I never play with those on. It's pretty much pointless to do so. There was the fucking... Was it the combat block thing? Force combat mode. There we go. They changed locations. There we go. Turn that off. Never have that on. Especially if you're playing castles, you're gonna fuck yourself. You can't use a door if you have that ticked and you're trying to go in and out of a doorway in a castle
beetle or something.
Yep. Yeah, it's fucked. But yeah, that's like the general basics of this. Where should I go from here? Ooh, maybe I want to go. Let's see. Let's put up some videos, see what we got. Voltel, can you PM me some of the videos again from like your guys while I go over this?
Yeah, give me 1 second.
Yeah, cool. All right. This did have comms on, but it for some reason it doesn't work properly.
It might actually work now. I think I might have fixed the audio. Let's see if it pumps through. No.
Okay. All right. So in a ZVZ, you have your main caller. For us right here, it's Baldy. Where is he? Let me try and just get a clearer picture here. There we go. You always use your markings. The crown symbolizes your shot caller. So if you're not in the main party with the shot caller himself, as you can see here, he's up the top. He does have the crown. Using the actual in-game marking system can be phenomenal. Even when you're marking your healers, like your key healers, it's a great tool. Not a lot of people use it, but it's really good, especially for newer players. They can try and focus in on the icon and just follow that person, because you don't want to be too far away from your shot caller in a ZVZ. Like, for example, I don't have the widescreen here, which is a pain in the ass. This is a little bit older. But so our front line is here. This is our front line. The enemy is down here. Healers are in a good placement here. They are in the back, just avoiding. This DPS player, this Brimstone, shit positioning. This tank is watching our backline up to our northwest, which is good. You'll see it in a minute. This Galantine player, shit positioning. This DPS player, it's in a good one. It's a good placement. So you want to be at least in touching or in viewing distance. Like this DPS player, this Clout X Mango, he can't see Baldy. He can't see the shot caller. So when Baldy says to, okay, we're going to engage southwest. So let me clear screen and switch to that. He's going to call an engagement southwest soon. We're prospering here, aka I'm doing my Diddy dance back and forth. But then my spider senses are tingling, boys. We're getting flanked. You can't hear it because the audio doesn't go through. But I calmly tell Baldy, yo, Baldy, AW Gaming's coming from our northwest. We're about to get flanked. There's no, oh my god, we're getting flanked. No, calm, relaxed, chilled. You don't need to shout and scream. As long as your shot caller is getting the clear, precise, reliable information back to you, it's fine. He's going to react to that. So, as a tank, what should I be doing here? Anybody?
Disrupting an engage, slowing down, maybe.
There we go.
Nurturing.
A nurturing would have been the play here, but a nurturing wasn't in the game at this time. 100%. Yeah. 100% a nurturing on a Grove Keeper. You don't play anything else on your W because you'll pretty much just fucking yourself in
Sorry.
Zerg.
Sorry, that's a big word. What does that mean?
What?
Inertia ring, like what does that mean?
Inertia ring, I'll show you in a bit. So the inertia ring is the new W on the Grove Keeper. Basically, it puts down like a circle around you like that. And then if an enemy player walks over it, he's slowed by, I think it's 60%. So it's pretty much an AoE slow. Like I can lock down, if I had it here, I could have locked down this whole entire choke and stopped the whole entire engagement. But because I didn't, what you're going to see is I let Bodhi know, and you'll see the Zerg movement just go to the northeast. I zip in with my slowing charge just so I can get a clearer view. I wait. I know what they're going to do. They want to engage. I'm just waiting here, waiting. Watch the whole entire Zerg move to the northwest here, or northeast. They're not going to engage because that's going to be bad for us. He needs to save the Zerg. I'm waiting, and I just waited until our whole entire front line was able to position itself. And then I listened to the shot caller. The shot caller said move northeast, so we're going to shift northeast. I could have fully engaged, but I didn't. I was just waiting for the communication. I needed to make sure the Zerg was in a better position. And you see myself always popping up my minimap, right? Let's see if I can pause it to...
All right, there should be a few videos being sent your way, Robin. So
okay, thank you.
Just random, different types of content.
Yep. Okay, cool. So I press N more times than I press E in a ZVZ when I'm fighting. Anyone want to know why? Anyone tell me why?
Choke
If you're the
points?
tank, you want to know exactly what, like, where the rest of the Zerg is, so you can protect them and always be at the front. Gotta be in good position.
Yes. And to the other guy that said, knowing my choke points, you're also correct. And also knowing where my actual shot caller is. The blue dot indicates your Zerg leader for party 1. And I always want to be next to him. I explained that before, but you can see here we have a couple dots out of position, but there are frontline tanks, I believe. I also looking at, like, where am I going to get flanked from? We've been fighting down here, and I know Money Guild's still down here. AW Gaming's flanked around the northwest here, and this leaves Money Guild the opportunity to either come this way. They could either go all the way around if they really wanted to and hit us from behind if they were smart, or they could come up the choke point here. Now, I'm keeping all that in my mind because I'm looking, okay, what choke points do I need to hold off? What choke points do I need to protect at all times? That's what's going through my head. And now I just wait to see what Bodhi wants to do. I'm not making any hero plays by myself because that's stupid. Your E is for your Zerg engagement. You never want to waste your E until your shot caller tells you to fully engage. It's like AW Gaming's backed all the way back up and Money Guild's still holding their position. They didn't flank us. I'm going to skip ahead just a little bit here because it's a little bit of back and forth. And I want to show you, is it here? Yeah, okay. So just after our little scuffle with Money Guild, I'll bring up my pen again. Wait, no, that one. So Money Guild's still here. AW Gaming, once again, in their great wisdom, has tried to engage us from the northwest again. They've done it multiple times, so I'm expecting it this time. I want to stop the Zerg movement. I've already told Bodhi that the flank is coming in, so he's going to pull himself and the whole Zerg back up to this position once more. Let me clear that off the screen. I'm just going to chill. Make sure the Zerg's safe once again. AW Gaming, nice defensive firewall coming in. There's the slowing charge onto the front line. I could have E'd the front line coming in, but what's the point of hitting the front line? The tanks don't deal any damage. Yeah, they can CC you, but that's about it. As a tank, you want to stop the DPS. And look at that. Look how many DPS I stopped in that one engagement. I just held for a little tiny bit. I didn't panic. I didn't engage the front line. And the only things engaging are a bunch of tanks that I let through and then a couple DPS, but the whole entire backline of AW Gaming got stopped. And our Zerg's pretty much safe. I'm going to make it out alive because why would they single target me? I'm only one tank. And once again, we're stabilized. Let me double go through some of this. I think there was a... Nope, that's it for that one. Okay, cool. Anyone got any questions?
Yeah. So it seems like they give a lot of respect to the tanks like that. Like you were saying, why would they focus fire me, right? Now, let's say you come across people that don't give you that respect. Let's say the tanks are getting focused. What is the way that a group punishes that? Like, why is that incorrect on their part? And why is that something that you can exploit? Because I'm just curious, as like a lot of respect is given to that front line, and there has to be a reason, right? That has to be a blunder if they choose to focus that.
Yeah, so a lot of the time in a ZVZ, the front line hardly ever gets focused, mainly because the front line's tanky AF. I mean, look at my health right here. I'm at nearly 4K health, and my resistances are off the chart. I can sit
Well, there's
there.
also another reason too, diminishing return, single target.
Yep. Focus fire, all that shit. The way that the game's built, so if one person at the front line is getting targeted by 20 people, they can shrug that off. It's focus fire protection. It's a game mechanic that SBI put in. So
If
what
they single target focus you, it's gonna be very hard for them to kill you.
Yeah, exactly. They would have to waste a lot of shit in terms of their big E's and shit to kill you, and it's just not worth it. Like, so for example, I'm at the front line and I'm just literally in the face of them swinging my Grovekeeper around, and they're like, "Yo, let's get rid of Robin." I have 50 people behind me, get ready to engage, and they just wasted pretty much every single major E that they have just to kill one person. They're left with nothing to defend themselves or a return engagement if they got engaged upon. It's just not worth it.
Okay.
So
you would take advantage of that. Like if you were in a situation where it's like the enemy is making the mistake of focusing on the front line, that is a good time to then counter engage or just make an engagement flat out.
Yeah. So
well, also the other thing is like if you bait them into focusing you, like you'll notice when I'm out there in my Grovekeeper, like I'll bait them into all focusing on me, they blow all their shit, they're fucked.
Yep, and and another thing is like when they focus you, they clump on you, right? Like all the melees are going to be clumped on you, their tanks are clumped on you, their DPS is in close range to you. You just turn around and go, boom, and then your Zerg comes charging in. They're fucked. So like the old baity, like I'm just going to stand here. Like I wish I had a couple videos to show you guys.
There's a Robin. There's a video where we baited Arch into doing that with me. They dropped all their shit, and like 60 or 70 of them combat looted. I dropped the inertia ring, and Carly just like murdered them.
Yeah, so like it's like shit like that. It's like pretending to be AFK when you're a tank. It works a lot of the time. You'll be surprised. Back in when Torrid was a thing, when we used to fight Arch, I used to purposely go sit inside the territory and just stand there. I had faith in my healers and my support players that they would keep me alive. I would just pretend to be AFK. If I came close to dying, I put my jig, and then by the time that happens, I'm already slamming my E on top of everybody, and then the whole entire Zerg engages. It's little bait and switches that you can do to make the enemy Zerg fall into a false sense of security. and that's when they die.
Carly, can you send them a clip of that one where they just like piled into the fucking just kill zone when we did that, Carly? Oh, Carly, I'll send it to you. Anyways.
All right. One other thing that I really forgot to go over, which is key, is this is mainly for the shot callers, and that's setting up your party. I may actually have it in one of these. Let me just check. All right, cool. Can I zoom in on this? Is this gonna work? Maybe. Does that work? Is that zoomed in to the party UI on your end?
Yep.
Voltel? Yeah, cool. All right. So let me bring out my trusty pen. Building up a Zerg. Anyone have any good examples of like your basic Zerg comp for 20 people? Anyone want to take a shot?
Stargan, Carly, you guys want to take a shot? Grumpy?
I've had an idea that I wanted to try. Need the people to try it. Is a lot of tanks involved. So two groves, two camlands, two soul sites. I say two because I want to use one for an engage and one for a counter on the counter engage. And basically, I'd like 2 locusts and 2 occults in there, and then 4 healers if possible, and the rest of DPS.
Not bad.
The reason I've got so few DPS in the lineup is because you don't actually need a lot of DPS to full HP to zero clump. You just need a lot of coordinated. You just need some coordinated DPS to do it, and the rest of it's all there just to make sure that your guys don't die.
Well, I think we also need to clarify between like small gangs mists and open world ZBZ. That's something I think we probably need to differentiate because they're a little different comp.
Yeah, but for a large scale ZVZ, you're completely right. Basically, this is pretty much the go-to setup right here. So I'm on Grovekeeper. How am I going to do this? GK. Baldy shot calling with a soul scythe. So that's 2 tanks already. King Red is in, I believe he was on GK if I remember his playstyle correctly. These 2 tanks here are Camlands. Wow, I'm shit at drawing. I'll just put Cam. So GK, 2 GKs, a soul scythe for the shot caller because it gives you the most mobility, and 2 Camlands. What happens here with the healers? We always 4 healers in each party, no matter what. But for the main shot caller, I believe in this one, Kiara was on the Holy. She's going to be focusing keeping Bodhi alive no matter what. That's her main job. Doesn't matter about the rest of the Zerg. Having your own personal healer for your shot caller is key. That's for Bodhi. And then the rest, those 3, you're going to be looking at your major resets. So obviously, and a rampant. So your two big circle hills, I'm just going to call them resets, and then your rampant staff as well. So 1 nature, the rest, is it holy? I can't even remember. Is it? What's the one that with the reset? I can't fucking remember the name of it.
Fallen staff.
Fallen staff. There we go. So fallen, holy healer for the shot caller, and then 1 rampant staff. That's pretty much how your comp goes in terms of healers. And then these 2 players are the supports. So it will probably been 1 locust, 1 fucking occult. Thank you. Occults, they're really good, once your Zerg gets used to playing them. One guild that really does it well, and you can watch it back on some of the AOTV broadcasts, is Money Guild. They have like 4 to 8 occults in their Zerg, and they just lay down a carpet on top of a carpet and top of a carpet right up to the enemy Zerg. So they're able to move their whole entire Zerg in a blink of an eye, nearly like a quarter of a way across the map, and hit a Zerg that's not expecting it. They're really good at that, but at the same time, just boosting your general movement of the Zerg when you're engaging is key. So Locus 100%, maybe times 2, especially in this day and age. It's pretty AIDS playing with 1 now. And then the rest DPS. This is going to be a good mix between your range, so your siege bows for a great lockdown area of effect, your brimstones for the hard-hitting DPS that you can't. So when you're playing brimstone, you need to be up in their face. You can't play like a little pussy. You need to be pretty much at the front line dropping that brimstone on their face. If you're scared, maybe you're in the wrong setting. Melee DPS as well. It's Halberd's really good. Galaclaps also still pretty strong. Claret Blade, every now and then, it's depending. And then Bloodletter for execution. Bloodletter should be kept to 1 per Zerg. Only 1. It's good at executing if the player is good. If everybody's playing Bloodletter, your Zerg's going to be complete shit. And have no DPS. So the main things you want to look at: brimstones, the new Avalonian bows, so both the crossbow and X-bow, the Galas and the halberds are really strong at the moment. Those are going to be your top DPS pretty much. Let me clear my screen. There we go. Oh, fuck. Any questions so far? Let me reset this. There you go. Anything? I don't know how well I'm doing. This is the first time I've ever done anything like this.
This has been really informative, and you're doing great.
Thanks, bud. All right. Let's here we go. Let's watch some of Carly's. So I believe Carly's the shot caller in this the CVZ or this engagement. Correct? Am I right? Voltel, hello?
Sorry, I had some audio issues. Yeah, he's the shot caller.
Okay.
Him and Gecko.
All right. So looking at this, anyone want to tell me right off the bat what's wrong with this?
Your permas are in front. You've got DPS. Oh wait, no, that's the back. Sorry.
Is this the back?
No,
this
yeah,
is
the left side's the back.
We were
It looks like
fighting on
enemies
multiple
behind.
fronts.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
It's the mist, dude.
All right. Yeah, it's a little bit different. I haven't played in the Mist yet. So one of the major thing that's missing, Carly's crown. No one can really see him, especially when it's in such a tight area and everyone's on top of each other. So always remember to mark your shot caller in these situations.
Yeah, mark your primary, your secondary, tertiary shot callers if you have them.
So let's go through this. Pops the overcharge. Going to be a little bit different because I can't really see. Also, widescreen his widescreen resolution. It's pretty. This is when it would come in handy the most. You got all these things happening off screen. He can't see what's going on, so he has to just hope for the best in the front. Performance is getting hit pretty hard, mainly probably because he has damage numbers on.
And if the guys, if you're in Discord, yeah, if you're in Discord, guys, stop watching the stream. Watch it on the Twitch stream, please. Sorry, guys. Like, it's Discord is not handling this many people, even though it's fucking yeah. So if you can watch it on the Twitch, watch on the Twitch. And as far as the video goes,
Cool. In terms of healer placement, really good. They are in pretty much the correct position here. If you're going to be playing as a shot caller, you always want to be up in the front. Here, the locust got wasted just back along a little bit. I think it was back here somewhere. If I remember correctly, that's adjudicator. So spell indicator intensity here would really be useful to getting bumped up, especially for Carly. I mean, look how faded that is into the ground. That's not going to come out at you during a ZVZ. No cleanse here, by the way, and no locus. That's when you want to be saving your locus. I know the roads is a little bit different compared to what I'm used to, where it's pretty much chaos. But just looking at this, support player wasn't really playing the way he should have been. This is a good Zerg movement, though, moving backwards together, and your tanks pretty much holding the front line, and your DPS slowly making their way back on top. It's like the return was going to be here for you guys. Very, very slow engagement. What's this? I don't think, let me check. I don't think you guys count down the timers for when you're engaging. No, so he just said, okay,
but
get ready.
Bomb squad is
Yeah. So I just listened. He says, okay, boys, get ready to go northeast. This is no communication here. No communication. Nothing. Still nothing.
Do you want to explain why you want to communicate and why you want to make sure everybody's synced for the newer players?
So when you're constantly communicating, it doesn't need to be like high-pitched yelling. It's just a chilled, relaxed, calm environment. And all you have to do is keep communication to your Zerg to let them know what's happening. So in this situation, if I was Carly, I'll be if we were pushed back here, I just knew that they just wasted all their Grovekeeper engagements and their tanks. We're topping ourselves up. Like, okay, boys, get ready. We're gonna go in 3, 2, 1. Okay, everybody northeast now. Everyone needs to go in when the countdown hits 1, because your reaction time as a human being is going to be delayed anyway. So when you teach your Zerg to engage on a countdown from 3, 2, 1, okay, engage, and you give a direction, always make sure you give a direction. Some people might get lost. Even though it's a one-way street here, some people are still going to get lost. Trust me. A lot of people are stupid. But making sure you communicate where you want your Zerg to go and when to do it is key, especially for shot callers. Once you figure that out and get so used to it, your Zerg gets used to it. In a sense where if I was playing with Mojo, for example, in Blue Army, and he's looking at an engagement, I don't even really have to listen to him talk anymore, because I know when he's going to go in. I that's how how in focus I am with that engagement and with the Zerg movement. I know when he's going to want me to engage. I know the perfect times, but for a newer player, that's going to be so hard to learn. But it's also not just on the player itself, it's on the shot caller to have that constant communication back and forth with the, okay, 3, 2, 1, okay, everybody engage northeast. That's when you drop your E's, by the way. You don't randomly drop your E's when you want to drop your E's. Your E's are always going to be for the Zerg engagement. Q's and W's, fine. Blow them when you want to blow them. Make sure you're always pressuring the front line. When people are getting up in your face, make sure you're hitting them with those Q's and W's. That's what you're meant to do, always applying that pressure. but always hold your E's for when your shot caller tells you when to engage. This is a good application of pressure here by the halberd. He's like I said, always up in their face, just swinging, causing damage, causing bleeds. That engagement with the permafrost completely off. There's no other big damage going in. There's no Grovekeeper follow-up. There was nothing there. Galaclap comes in completely randomly. There's no engagement from the tank. This is when you would have been wanting to fully engage with the whole Zerg E. And then it's just cleanup crew. So there's definitely things to work on. It was good. You guys won. Let me skip forward a little bit. This just looks like it's smaller scale. Yeah. What's this? Let me see. All right, here we go. How far back am I? This is bad. Oh dear. So once again, I'm guessing Carly's the shot caller. So we have this Zerg up here retreating up to the northwest. We have these people here getting left behind because the Zerg's just running away. Carly's still at the front. The shot caller is still at the front. Let's see what happens.
Are you okay with taking questions from chat, from Twitch, by the way?
Sure, go for it.
So one of the questions that was asked was, what point in the countdown would you recommend popping boots for an engage?
At 1. So 3, 2, 1. 1 is when you pop your boots.
Some of our shot callers call it out, boots, go, engage, right?
Yeah. And that's pretty much the same. 1, and then your follow-up would be as a shot caller, engage no feast. So at 1, you're already fully committed to that engagement then. And your speed is already boosted. Like for me as a Grovekeeper, I use the blink on my boots. So I would blink forward with my Grovekeeper when it hits 1, and I know where to engage from there. So here we see the Zerg completely split. Carly's still at the front. This is pretty bad.
Now, in all fairness, they're also coordinating with 2 other alliances as well. So it's actually a unified Zerg. There's Elevate and Force.
Okay. So in terms of Zerg movement, you're leaving quite a few people behind here. You always want to move as one with the Zerg. Like, look at this poor tank. He tried slowing down the movement. He's just going to get left behind. He may go down here. Carly's pretty much fine because he has his Hellion jacket. He can stay at the front, but this is the shit that you would never want to see in a ZVZ. You're not just a person in your Zerg going off and trying to snipe 1 kill, but potentially your shot caller doing it. Your Zerg's dying to your northwest, and you have people that want to go chase down 1 kill trying to snipe a kill. It should never be a thing. Remember, you're Zerg, you're moving as 1, you're working as 1. And now Cardi has to walk through all these people to try and get back to his Zerg, which he still hasn't really seen. This tank's still holding in strong. And he's finally...
Sorry, brother.
And he's finally back with his Zerg, and they've just split themselves. So, sadly,
hey, Carly, you can speak more to this, what's going on here. So if Robin has questions.
Okay.
So, like here, like I don't know if there was any call here. Unless there was someone calling that I can't hear. There was no communication. And hence why you see people splitting off up this way and some going down this way. It's pretty bad. So like I said before, always communicate. Communication is key in a ZVZ, no matter what.
We can go through that and maybe some other videos as well.
Yeah.
There's a couple more good engages, I think, and then I think some of the other videos are pretty good.
Just gonna skip through, see if I can see anything.
Did you send him a couple videos, Carly?
Yeah, I sent two. I can send
Okay,
more
okay.
if needed.
I think I sent you a couple as well, Robinhooders. We had one that you fast forward. There's like 4 or 5 good engages there, and some bad
Okay.
ones.
All right, let's see here.
I just want to show the video why you never fucking combat loot. That where you're fucking 65 arts died in. That was fucking hilarious.
So in this one,
Sorry, Arch, nothing but love, but combat loot, dude. Combat looting's a sin.
Carly actually did really well. In the comms, he's counting down from 30, and he's calling the direction as well to the east. One thing he did do was decide to call for people to overcharge halfway through this countdown. But yeah, still improvement from what we saw before. 3, 2, 1 countdown timer followed up by direction. No communication here. There we go. Finally, he calls the backup. That's what a lot of people miss. People, for some weird reason, when they engage, if the shot caller doesn't tell you to back up for some weird reason, people just stay inside the enemy Zerg and just carry on pressing Qs and Ws. Unless they're told to back up. Nice defensive there. He's slowly getting his bomb squad back out. Sadly, it doesn't really show much of that. Was disgusting. So in this engagement, Carly is shouting, delete them, but he's not given any directional information to where he wants his Zerg or his bomb squad to go afterwards, until he's fully committed into the way that he wants to go and he's in safety himself. Like right now, this is when he says, okay, come east, southeast. He's already in safety. His boys are still trying to delete the Zerg. So like making sure, once again, always telling your Zerg where you want to go, what you want to do, and how to perform as a Zerg. Do we have any outs like a major Zerg ZVZ?
Yeah,
That's
I've
not
got
a
a really
bomb
good
squad.
one I can send you.
Okay, this might be a little
Do
bit.
you have any? Do you have any like the big, large scale
Yeah,
stuff
I
with
have.
like
I've got a
Eskimo?
massive fight in the tunnel.
I know Eskimo and Manway did some really big shit.
Okay, this is good actually. So
I still want to show the Arch video. Fucking awesome.
I'm guessing a lot of this is like newer stuff, Carly.
The Arch one is the older one.
Okay.
There's a few misclips, which are the newest ones. I ain't sent them to you. The one I sent to you just now is probably the best one. It's a massive Zerg. Got
Okay.
40 plus.
Oh, we'll watch that one. Okay, general things that we went over at the start. He's got the crown. Nice. He's got a decent amount of tanks in his Zerg. Nice. He's got 2 supports. Even better. 4 healers. Great. The rest are DPS. It's pretty much how you want your general Zerg to perform. I'm hoping that he pops this soon, because he hasn't yet. But we shall see. He hasn't popped his food. That's another thing, just for shot callers. A lot of people forget to pop food. when they're about to engage in a ZVZ, you will find out half your Zerg didn't pop food during the whole entire fight. So constantly reminding people to pop food just before you engage and also pop overcharge is definitely something that you want to do. Sorry about the race car going past my...
The army fights better on a full stomach.
Exactly. So this was actually a really good engagement, and really well done by the healers. They did drop resets at the front to save the tanks, which a lot of healers, especially if you're new, they don't really do. So when your Zerg's engaging, you want to protect your front line. Your front line is there to stop the enemy force coming over the top of you. So making sure your boys are alive at the front, and also dropping one locus on the front line of the engagement is great. This was a good engagement. I like it. Constantly communicating. You guys can't hear it though, but he's constantly saying after the engagement, okay, boys, post south, post south, post south, post south. He's not stopping his communication, which is a lot better than what we saw before. Finally pops his food. Good job. Overcharge. Still fully communicating with his Zerg. You are a little bit snaked. So this isn't on a shotcaller issue. This is the Zerg themselves. Look at this. You can't really see. Can I zoom in on this? Let me see if I can zoom in. A little bit. That might help just a little bit. So look at all these yellow dots and the shotcallers here at the front. All these boys are snaked so far behind. I mean, I'm pretty sure some boys are probably up here as well, where I just marked on the map. But like trying to always keep your shot caller in your, at least on your screen, so you can see where they are, is key. It's just general movement for yourself, like just something you should always be keeping in check. Let me reset my thing. See, they know Carly's a shot caller, and they've got him nearly dead. They're going to focus him. Still, his Zerg, his healer, nowhere to be seen. Still, nowhere to be seen. Tanks here should be fully engaging to help the shot caller return here. Pretty much bad play overall. Like a Grovekeeper, like one engagement onto the front line stops their advance and saves the shot caller. Reset should have already been coming down here. The nature placements are okay, but it's not great because it's not insta-hill. And Cardi's still kiting, right? He was kiting from the northeast. He's always communicating, which is key. It's really good. Dragging the Camlan away from his Zerg, another nice play.
I sent you one with, I sent you a couple more videos, Robin. There's short clips. There are different shot callers and different size engagements. Open world, shit like that.
Alrighty. So yeah, Cardi here, he sees that he's got the Camlan on him, right? So many times I've seen people run down here into their Zerg, and it is so bad. It's like, boys, if you got the ring on you, you got no defensives, you run into the enemy Zerg no matter what. You take that shit away. That's their engagement. That's what they're looking for. That massive clump so they can follow it up with a Grovekeeper. That's their engage. If you cancel that, they're fucked. So, and he does a really good job just trying to take it away. He notices it. It was a good play. Good locust placement. Could have been a little bit further up, but still it's decent. One thing Carly didn't say here, he's calling north, right? He's going push north, push north, push north. Doesn't actually call an engagement. There's no 1, 2, 3, okay, engage, or okay, engage on the clump. It's just push north. So the Zerg, a little bit weary of what to do. It's defensive's coming down, nice play. Camlan once again coming out, takes it back up towards the enemy. Another good thing, there's someone that isn't a shot caller giving Atro good info. Someone said that last Warner flanking from somewhere. It's always nice to have that other person telling you in a calm, collective voice what's happening elsewhere that you cannot see as a shot caller at the front of your Zerg.
Yeah, we usually try to have scouts and then somebody coordinating the bomb squad, main Zerg, etc., etc., etc. Usually. I think in this one you guys are watching, it's yeah, I think Manway's actually main shot calling Carly's bomb squad, Eskimo's calling the main Zerg, and then somebody else coordinating.
Yep. So one thing here that I would say for Carly is ask for locuses, right? You should always be asking for a locus, making sure your support player knows that he's needed and where to. Like, you're saying, okay, pull back southwest, but your front line is getting caught off guard and getting demolished. The locus comes in, but you didn't call for it. So he's just putting it where he thinks it's a good placement, and that's in the center of the bridge, not all the way up the front. So when you're fully engaged like that and they're hitting you with a return engagement, it's always nice to tell your locuses, yo, I need a locus at the front line, or I need a locus on the back line. Telling your locus where they're needed is definitely key, and it's something that you can improve on.
Let's watch some other videos so we're not just beating up Carly all day.
I mean,
No, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
he's
You
a
learn
good
more
shot
from the
caller.
I am.
mistakes,
Yeah, I'm
honestly.
listening. So I'm listening.
Exactly. But he's actually pretty good. Like, see, the locus should have been placed there, right? They came in with their engagement and it hit your front line pretty hard. No defenses were placed here, but you're asking for a return engagement. Everybody's locked in place here by their tanks with no support.
Okay, so we have a question real quick, if we can, about what we guys are talking about.
Yeah.
So, Robinhooders, would you say that once people start snaking, that more and more people will start snaking as well? And what can you do as a shot caller to minimize this?
Yep. Definitely 100%. When people, so mainly it's your movement as a shot caller. When you're moving around the map, you're always, so most of the time you're going to be using like the cartwheels and your sprints constantly, just trying to advance your Zerg movement. And people get snaked behind. Pressing N, like I went over way before, like towards the start of this the lesson, pretty much. Pressing N constantly to pull up your mini map to see where your party placement is and how stretched out they are. It's great info. And then if you're over snaked, you can just pause at the front line, tell your front line, yo, wait up a little bit, jiggle around, jiggle with it at the front, like back and forth, just wait for your DPS and healers and whoever's snaked at the back to catch up, and then move forward again.
Awesome. Let's watch some other ones and kind of go over stuff we can. I think people are picking up a lot of stuff. Do you want to cover, like you were talking about, like looking at snaking and stretching out all that stuff? How, as a shot caller, you can obtain information from the combat log and the mini map, like the position of the blob, etc., like where people are dying, where the engages are happening, if you don't have visibility of where the actual enemies are and everything else is going on, right?
Yeah, so combat log I've never used as like a info.
Oh, okay.
But minimap 100%. I'm always, my eyes are always on the minimap and pressing N just to pull it up. It's kind of hard not to have like a visual to show you. I'm thinking, what can I do? So
like on the combat log, if you're seeing deaths on the map and you're seeing the combat log and you know some names, you can figure out very quickly, okay, my guys are dying, their guys are dying. You can see where on the map it's happening, and then you know where, if you're getting flanked or something, if you don't have visibility, is what I was trying to say.
yeah, which is true. Let me see here. Just trying to think what I can do. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can zone out and get us to a map. And that way I actually have like a decent map to show you. Okay. Let's see what I can do here with my trusty. So let's say your Zerg placement is, you're fighting on a bridge here. You're this blob. And you're looking at your mini map. That was pretty big. There we go. And you see, so you got your general layout of the map. You got a couple areas on this map that you can flank of. Down here is that's it, right? You're holding the middle bridge. If you're constantly looking at your mini map and then suddenly the group that you're fighting on the other side, their Zerg bubble gets a little bit smaller, but you see like, okay, so clearly something's happening. They've deblobbed and probably pushed out a flank group. So having a scout on each side of your Zerg just watching is always key. He's going to be mounted and giving you clear info back, just watching your flank constantly. Another thing would be, obviously, a lot of people are pretty shit at deblobbing. So when they split off, they're going to see a blob. So always keep an eye out for little blobs popping up around the minimap that are going to be hitting you as a flank group. Pretty much all that I can really say on that matter. Yeah. And like I said, pressing N, maybe zooming in a little bit, you can see the flanks where they're going to cross and shit like that. Also, as a shot caller, one thing I see a lot of people fuck up on is when they go into a map, they don't look at the map. Like, and then they put themselves into a position. So once again, say that you're fighting here. As a Zerg leader or shot caller, where do you go if you're getting advanced on? And anyone want to say anything? Any idea? Just from looking at the map.
It's a very wide map on the stream. It's very easy
Yep.
to see.
Let me zoom it in a little bit more if I can. Is that better? So say you're here, just holding the bridge. Where would you want to fall back to? Like, as a Zerg leader, like, what's your play here? Say you're getting pushed hard across the bridge. Where'd you go?
Northwest. Through the choke, just behind the Zerg.
What, this one?
Yeah. That's,
no. You want to know why? Vision. Right. So if you pull your Zerg up here, you've lost vision advantage. Currently, you still have vision advantage if you're here. Your play here would be to fall back down through this choke. You're going to hold vision advantage. That is so key when you're leading a Zerg, is keeping the vision over your enemy Zerg. So the play here would fall back through a tiny choke point and then most likely head up this choke point here. You're going to have then hill advantage holding this choke point, and then the enemy Zerg has to work their way up a choke where you have vision advantage, and then your fullback would be going down this way, still holding vision advantage through tiny choke points. So as a Zerg leader, you always want to be studying the map when you zone into it. That's why you don't zone in and instantly engage. You never want to do that. You want to look where they're positioned, where you want to fight. Don't always take the fight on their grounds. If they want to fight you, they can come to you on your terms. Always remember that. Like, just because you're out for ZVZ doesn't mean you always have to fight on their terms. So many people fuck up on that and get wiped because of it.
Okay, I got a quick question. How would you deal with mobs that will be hitting your Zerg, given that that is a mob dense zone?
Yep. So mobs pretty easy to clear, to be honest. The only time you want to worry about mobs hitting your Zerg, especially just in this day and age of Albion, is if you're fighting in like a raid zone where you're going to have like elites or something on you. Apart from that, it doesn't really matter. It's pretty easy to clear. Just Qs and Ws onto the mobs. Remember, don't waste your E's. They're for the Zerg, even when you're clearing mobs. But yeah. Anything else? I don't know what else to go over.
Well, I just want to go over some different types of engages and stuff so people can see good and bad.
Yeah.
If we
Okay.
could. Got a couple videos Carly sent me. I sent you.
Yeah.
They're short.
Alrighty. So.
And then we'll open up to questions.
Yeah. Cool. Alrighty. So this is a good engagement, right? You're holding a choke point, and clearly Arch do not want to fucking fight you on that choke. That's stupid if they do, but you're holding a pretty good position. Your placement's good. Cardi's calling for an engagement down southwest, and it's already forced Arch into this tiny little choke point. This engagement is pretty much textbook. You hit the Camland, follow it with the Grovekeeper engagement to keep them stunned, and then your big boy DPS coming in. You've got your Brimstone, your Ice, your Permafrost, and a Wailing Bow pretty much hitting the whole entire engagement right away. Cardi coming in with a Bloodletter. Clean, swift engagement. Not many people hanging around to combat loot, which is good. The only thing here, actually, no, it plays out pretty well. That's fine. Nighthound would have been nice. Maybe the only thing you guys could have done a little bit better here is keeping pressure on the front line. Qs and Ws, remember, if a tank's trying to push up a choke point, try and force him back down. Like, look at this. Like, this player here is forced into his cleric cow because he's fucked. He's overextended. And it's a Cloffy, and he might pay the price. So that was a clean engagement and disengagement. That's pretty much how it should go every single time. Overextending your Zerg for a play is never a good thing. Let's see what happens here. So still holding the choke point, that's the play. Offensive position's always good. You can't really get flanked here. You have pretty much one choke point to hold down, and that's it. And you're playing your game here, right? Like, you're waiting for them to make the fuck up, and their fuck up there was pushing back out of this area. This could have been bad. People stuck around a little bit too long. And you have no locus here, remember? So that's bad. Your backline's getting pummeled. Probably pull back and just focus these people on your backline and while holding the choke point as a tank.
Okay, so there's a question about this. If you're controlling a choke area that the enemy Zerg has come through to engage you, what would be the ideal way to force them into the choke?
So, hold on, let me pull it back.
just
this-
a quick thing.
Yeah, so this is pretty good here. You've opened up this choke point. There's no one guarding it, so this could have been a bait. Actually, I don't know. There's no tank holding this apart from one that's just still trying to do something. But all the cloffies have pulled back. That's good. So Archer probably thinking right now, oh yo, the choke point's fucking open. Let's push it, right? Wrong. As we'll see just for a second here. Cloffies are pulled back. Arch think it's clear. Nope. There it goes. The bait right into it. The Grovekeeper lands, the cam land, and then the big boy damage drops down. That was a good bait. Picks up a couple kills here and there.
Yeah, Voltel doesn't shot call. He usually just baits.
Yeah.
If you take it back there, you'll see how resistance pots can save your life. Watch XA Gramps' health. Yeah.
Maybe a little bit further back.
It was a bit further. Yeah, it was this part here. Yeah, I was right down. I'd pushed way too deep. And
Yep.
watch, here I come here. I'm in that clump that you were pointing at. Here I
Yep.
come through there.
So for anybody that's watching over here, switch it back there.
Yeah.
Resistance
That's
pot.
T7 resistance pot for you.
Yeah. So that's something that I really didn't actually touch on is your food and potions. A lot of Zergs are hit and miss with it, but it's depending on how you want to play the game. So back in Blue Army, back in a long time ago, everybody would be playing on a 7-1 omelet. So the cooldown of the whole entire Zerg is at the exact same time, right? Or give or take a couple of seconds, depending on what armor you're having with passives. But that whole thing of having your Zerg on
you want to have everything synced.
Exactly. You're in sync with each other. And that comes back with the shot caller then knowing when he counts down 3, 2, 1, engage, he's going off his own E because everybody else in the Zerg is on the same cooldown timer because they got told to use 7-1 omelets. So he's expecting a full punch of an engagement because everybody's on the same cooldown. What else?
We can get through it. I think Carly, this is the one where we were overrun by like a bazillion hearts, right? Near the end.
This one here. What's happening?
Yeah, I think near the end of that they were completely overwhelmed. Like they went through like 3 or 4 fallback chokes.
Yeah. So this one here,
Vortal, in that previous video, later on is when you proved why you shouldn't combat loot.
Oh, I think did you guys catch that or?
We did. I think we caught that on that video.
Finish that other video. It's hilarious, Robin.
All right.
It's hilarious.
All right.
Sorry. I wasn't sure which one it was on.
I think it was on that one. There was it definitely happened on that run.
Is it towards the end?
Yeah, I'd say probably in the middle is when we start getting pushed back.
Okay, Voltel is dead here.
Yeah, it was literally that spot that you clicked on.
This one?
Yeah. It's from about here. We pull back through the doorway, and he dies in that doorway, I think.
Yeah, I was delaying them and fucking inertia ringing them and buying them time. It's hilarious.
Yeah, there he goes.
Yeah.
Yep.
But look, that there, look at that. That's opened up an engagement, right? Look how many people were clumped here. The core here should have been just a full engage on this.
Oh, it was.
Okay. So like using a def to your advantage is always something that you should be looking out for as a shot caller. Because people just love to loot.
If you look at the
Especially,
newbie clap one, if you look at the newbie clap one near the end, that's the one where they all just dogpile onto
Yeah.
the corpse. It's like 10 seconds at the end.
This one, what the fuck type of resolution's this? A mad lad.
Ultra wide.
Yo, Rainbow Party.
They literally just dogpile into the Camlin.
Yeah. It's like both sides fucked up here because it should have been a locust pretty much instantly. Like the Zerg's
No,
big enough.
I was the only one that died.
But still, like with the engagement, you should be expecting your a locust pretty much instantly, like on a frontline engagement. It's like here as well. This is a different video. There's no locust on this engagement. It's one right at the start, but the return is pretty much instant. There we go. Look how many people are just getting pummeled at the moment. Definitely maybe try and teach your locusts to communicate. It's hard because not everyone has a mic, but one thing that we did have in Blue Army is when you're on the island massing up and you have your locusts like grouped together like in a different massing location, they're gonna be like, okay, I'm locust 1, and then someone else goes locust 2, locust 3, locust 4. I'm offensive, I'm defensive. It's really useful if your locusts like got used to setting themselves up like that.
In all fairness, that was like 4 months ago, and if we had 4 locusts and newbie, like that would just like be amazing.
I think we've got 2 now.
Hey, we're coming on up, baby.
Yo, we're stepping up in the.
Unfortunately, the other one's an NA time zone, the one's an EU time zone. So
yeah, that's that for that. And any, I guess, questions?
Any questions from Discord?
Yeah, actually. So a lot of times, like in a ZVZ fight, it's pretty fast paced. You have to think quick. What are some of the maybe mental shortcuts, like if there are any, where you can say like if you see something, it's good to like exploit that real quick. Like what are some things that you can practice mentally as far as that? Like if you see this, then you know this, like and real quick. So that way it's like because there's a lot of stuff to think about when the fight's going on.
Yeah, really good question actually. So one of the main things I've personally taught myself to listen for is this. Hold on. Oh wait, there's no sounds on the stream. God damn it. So the night helm popping, it makes a distinctive sound. Plus you can see it anywhere, like if you're looking at the front line. That indicates that the Zerg that you're fighting against is about to engage you, right? So preparing yourself, getting ready to maybe pop a defensive, pop a like defensive spell, maybe like a wind wall, firewall. If you're a tank, maybe like grow keepering the frontline engagement. If you're a clothy or like a healer, for example, getting ready to heal the front line, just reacting to that spell can like improve your gameplay and reaction time by a lot. Also keeping an ear out for spells for like the sprints getting used on boots is also another thing. A lot of the time people use hunter boots and you can hear them even if people are off screen if you have your sounds on.
That's ambient, I believe, if you crank up ambient.
Yeah. Or this one here, sound effects.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Ambience for footsteps and shit.
Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much like a lot of people don't like playing with sounds, but when you have like this setting on, turn your music off, no one wants to fucking listen to that shit. And make sure your sounds aren't overpowering the shot caller, make sure you can still hear your shot caller, but listening to sounds, keeping an eye out for spells being used before an engagement and shit like that can help a lot. Anything else?
Even basic questions, guys. Like, there's a lot of stuff that's been covered. So whether you're on stream or Discord, this is the time to ask it. Can you just put some videos on in the background if there's some interesting stuff you can talk about it?
Yeah, give me 1 second.
I do have a question from healer perspective. Usually healers are supposed to drop their resets on like discretion, but sometimes like shot callers call for it, and sometimes like we have nobody who can drop it. So is there like good way to like designate somebody? Like, is it something that we should pre-arrange before the fight?
So the only thing I would say to a healer is, or for like the person making the Zerg and the shot caller, make sure you find yourself a personal healer. Having one person purely focus on keeping your shot caller alive is key. In terms of a healer knowing when to drop their resets, communication is also key. People don't like, so it all depends on your shot caller, right? Sometimes shot callers really dislike other people communicating with other, like with the Zerg, like calling out shit in the channel. But if you're a healer and you're dropping a reset and only a quarter of your Zerg sees that or knows about it, it's kind of fucking useless. So, for example, when you drop a reset with a fallen staff, you call it out, right? And then it goes through the minds of everybody else in the audio listening. Okay, there's a reset getting dropped down. I might need it. I'm half HP. I'm expecting it to be in this location towards the back, right? Because that's where the healers are. But if you're not saying anything, you drop a reset, there's a small chance that someone that needs it towards the front maybe isn't going to get it anyway, or isn't even going to be on the lookout for it because they don't know it's coming. So calling your resets out is definitely 100% something that healers should be doing during a ZVZ.
Got it. So like reset in the back or something like that.
Yeah,
Very
reset
short
in the
and-
back, reset at the front, reset in the middle. It's just
quick
keeping
calls.
that
Calls. Yep. Say dropping resets in the back. Boom. That's it. I got a question from chat. What's the minimum spec IP recommended for an average group for a shot caller? Obviously, it depends on the group, but you know, what would you say is?
It doesn't really matter. If people are working together and following the calls in, working as a Zerg, IP and spec kind of really doesn't matter.
For a tank, you don't think it matters?
Like if you're above 3k health, cool, right? That's good. I think anyway. But
no, I agree. I'm just curious what your thoughts were.
Yeah, it's like I've always said, like if you're below 3k health on a tank, then you're not a tank because some of our cloffies. But then that's
You're a bruiser.
from yeah, that's purely coming from my point of view because I'm an end game ZVZ player, coming from someone that was in Blue Army where everybody should have been really high spec anyway. So, like, look at my health right here, 3.6k. That's like, and I'm pretty sure I was like close to 400 here. I should expect all my other tanks to be in that area, but that's mainly because it's end game.
Yeah, if you're a brand new bro, you're not going to probably get to that, but.
No.
Quick question. There's a couple people that DM me. What would you say the biggest differences are from like main Zerg calling versus like bomb squad calling?
Bomb squad. So do you guys use TeamSpeak?
Yeah, we use Mumble. Same thing, but yeah.
Yeah. So when you're shot calling for a bomb squad, you got to do two things. You got to listen to the calls coming from the main Zerg itself, and then lead your own men at the same time. Knowing when to engage is probably the hardest thing for a bomb squad. Like, I haven't really done much in terms of leading a bomb squad, so I can't really like give you like a good detailed description of what to do and what not to do. But it's just knowing where your actual main Zerg is, so you're not friendly firing onto them, right?
Would you say that trying to engage separately, so like the main Zerg engages when they're pulling out of the engaged, the bomb squad engages, would you say that's a thing?
100%. So with a bomb squad, your main objective is to put out as much damage when the enemy Zerg is at their weakest, right? So when your main Zerg engages, the enemy Zerg is going to blow all their cooldowns defensive wise. So all their heals come down, their locusts come down, their potions get popped, all that shit comes out. As a bomb squad, you want to hit that when just after all those effects wear off, right? So they're open to the max amount of damage you can put out onto them, and their cooldowns are fucked. And then in return, that kind of like fucks up their heals as well, because their healers are like trying to keep the Zerg alive, and then you're going to have the main enemy Zerg re-engage after the bomb squad by about 20 seconds, and then they're fucked. You just keep back and forth constantly, and don't ever engage at the exact same time.
You
Anything else?
Robin, can you check your DMs? I got
Sorry.
a personal request from Eskimo.
Hello, what are all 1, 2, 3, 4?
We're recording a class, my friend. So if you have questions about shot calling or tanking.
Ah, so that's why 24 people are. Okay, bye.
Okay. Random shit.
Snake boy.
Any advice for Galantine players?
Play with some fucking bulls. Go deep and just start swinging. Like,
go big or go home.
Exactly. You're in it to fucking put out the biggest amount of damage that you can with a burst, and that's it. Like, you gotta be able to play like you don't give a fuck about the gear that you're wearing. And I think that goes for everybody in a ZVZ. If you're worried about dying and losing gear, then you're playing the wrong game. It's one of the things that will wipe a Zerg so easily is if you play with fucking fear. Once you remove the fear factor of losing gear, your armor, your mount, whatever, and you just play balls to the wall like you don't give a fuck, then that's when you start winning. That's when you would see a real improvement in the Zerg. And practicing in like yellow zones and stuff, I never ever suggest doing it. Mainly because people play differently if they know their gear is not going to be lost compared to if they're playing in a black zone, for example, where their gear will be lost if they fuck up a movement or placement of themselves.
For brand new bros, I mean, we give them gear and we go out and we go balls deep, right? Like, just don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Lemming.
Would you say faction warfare is a good way to get people used to ZVZ?
Yeah, 100%. Mainly because you can teach a newer player general positioning and shit without it really being hurtful if they fuck up, in terms of you're fighting a bunch of randoms, not a full-blown really good Zerg, for example, that know what the fuck they're doing with experienced shot callers. You're fighting just random people. So if someone fucks up their like placement, like where they're standing, they're not going to get fully wiped for it, and they can learn from it that way. So faction warfare is a great tool to use. So a little bit of feedback for Eskimo.
Yeah, he was looking for
things I like right off the bat.
Spank one's probably a good one.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the one I'm on. Friendly Fire versus Spank. That one. So right off the bat,
Yeah, I think that's a
he's
good one.
communicating where he wants the Zerg movement to go, and he's repeating it. He's counting down the engagement. 3,
Remember,
2,
nobody can hear
1.
the audio for some reason.
Yeah. That was a perfect engagement. So one thing, it's not on Eskimos. It's nothing to do with Eskimos, just a Zerg. Look where the heals are dropping. Right? But the whole entire front line is here. Getting fucked. So healers need to play with a little bit more balls and don't follow in the path of the DPS. One thing I quickly want to show you guys. Hold on, let me get rid of this. What can I? Let me pull up Paint real quick. Good old Paint. Oh, not that. Fuck. Stupid fucking pen. There we go. Pull that over there. All right. This. That. So let's say your Zerg is here. The enemy Zerg is here. This is how you should be engaging. Your tanks directly up the middle. Tanks. Your melee DPS followed up behind. Just melee DPS. Melee DPS. And then if you're a ranged DPS, you want to be hitting them from the outsides that way. Not following your tanks and your melee DPS because they're going to be soaking up their re-engagement. You want to be going around the outsides. Healers, you want to follow the same suit and heal from the sides, right? You want to not go directly in the footpath of your tanks and your melee DPS, and you want to flank around the outside and drop heals, because if I'm the enemies aren't getting engaged on, the thing that I'm probably going to be returning fire onto is the tanks, right? So you don't want to get hit by any CC and shit because it's going to stop your heal output. So getting heals from the side, your range DPS also going around the side is key. Tanks and melee DPS just go fucking balls out into their face. Like, that's how it should be done. A lot of the time, you have the whole entire Zerg move in a straight line with itself, and that's not what you want to do.
Yeah, but a good chunk of the Zerg gets nuked, and then like the rest of the Zerg later on figures it out. It's kind of
Eskimo's doing really good here. He's still communicating that he needs heals. Constant communication with the Zerg. He's telling the Zerg what he wants it to do. He's even before he's counting down, he's telling the Zerg, okay, we're going to be re-engaging soon. That's something really useful for the Zerg itself. They know they should be prepping themselves, getting right up next to Eskimo, getting ready to engage, just waiting for the countdown. Calls for defensive Night Helms, which is good, and a cleanse. No cleanse comes though.
And a counter Soul Scythe.
Yeah.
When they engage.
So here's really good. He calls for the engagement on the crown, which is good. If the Zerg gets used to engaging on the crown and not overextending onto the back line, where did my pen go? So, for example, this group here that's engaging onto like the enemy here, that was a wrong call. The Zerg leader didn't call for that. He said to engage on the crown, which is right here, this clump. People just need to learn how to follow the calls and not think for themselves in terms of that. Like, so many DPS engaged on that when that whole entire clump here could have got wiped if they followed the call. Once again, always communicating, pull back, let's drop some hills as we pull back. Once again,
actually, I'm gonna link can you yeah, I'll link this fight so people can watch it as well, so I can hear the audio.
Yeah. So once again, always communicating. A little bit snaked with his Zerg here. The people in the actual Zerg itself, pretty snaked. Something that he could improve on is noticing when his Zerg is snaking. And just making sure that DPS are on his screen when he goes for an engagement and not so snaked out here and telegraphed. He notices it here where he says we still have our damage potential here. So he just realized that half of his Zerg probably didn't engage because they're so snaked. So he's still communicating that he's going northwest. Checks his minimap, actually. That was good. Checks his minimap. See how snaked and split people are? Yeah, half his group here, half his group here. There's a big like tree shit thing in the middle, like blocking the Zerg movement itself. The Zerg isn't moving as one here. It's split. He notices that though, because he checked his minimap. Still communicating constantly where he wants a Zerg to move to. Counting down from 5 here. Wasted Locust, don't know what that was. Straight call to engage northwest here. He notices that the Zerg's on the run here. See? And he notices that he's low elf, so he's going to pull back here. Trying to get some heals for himself. You shouldn't expect your healers to walk up and heal you. You should always be expecting to walk back to your healers. Just in case a wild return comes in. Still communicating right to the end, even when there's only a couple people left. Just so the Zerg knows what the hell is going on. It's really good shot calling, actually. I like that. Definitely use that for any newer shot callers that are coming in. It was really good. Not much to
Question from Twitch. What advice? I mean, I think we saw a good soul sight in that video actually when they engaged to counter the engage. But what advice do you have for soul sight players specifically?
Use your stun run quite a bit, especially on tanks at the front line. If you see like the enemy tanks slowly edging up, just keeping them stun locked and stun run, it's always a good use. Maybe it all depends really. Having a defensive soul scythe can just stop a Zerg in its tracks if you're good at it. But most of the time people do just pop Night Helms, so it's kind of counterproductive. But I guess it's down to the player themselves, right? Like for me as a Grove Keeper, I don't have to be told to be a defensive GK to stop an engagement. If I know that I can stop an engagement, I'm going to go for it because I know for a fact that it's going to be the right thing in like down the line. And just because I'm out of placement now with the rest of the Zerg, it's not really going to affect it that much because I know there's other Grove Keepers with the Zerg. So if you have like 4 soul scythes in your Zerg, cool. It's not going to hurt you to have one defensive soul scythe or one defensive Grove Keeper, for example. But it's just learning if and when to use it in a defensive play.
Another question for some of the newer players: what would you say, as a rule, are the main roles of Soul Scythe, Camlin, and Grovekeeper?
Just purely setting up that engagement for the DPS. Trying to find those
I'm saying,
clumps.
what would be the variations between the tanks, like from a tanking perspective? Like who goes in first, who goes in second, who goes in
Okay.
third, ideally, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. So basically, most of the time you're looking at your Camlan, or if you have a pretty OG tank, they may play Morningstar. So they're going to be the initial, right? You're sucking in the Zerg, your enemy Zerg, into a clump. Then you're probably going to be following up pretty much instantly with a Grovekeeper, and then a Soul Scythe for the knockup. And by then, if your DPS player play fast enough, that clump is going to be deleted. So Camlan, Grovekeeper, Soul Scythe is pretty much the combo that you want to do.
And what about defensively?
Defensively, you're never wanna.
What should a
like
defensive tank be like looking out for?
Like I said before, like Night Helm's being popped, sprints about to come in, people like clumping up, ready to engage. It's some of the key things that you're going to be looking out for. Also, Guardian armor is one thing I see quite a few tanks play, but no one really knows how to play it correctly. So you're a tank. You got a lot of health. You got a lot of resistance. If a Zerg engages on yours, that's when you pop your Guardian armor. You want to get into their DPS that are channeling, like your siege bows, for example. Your players that take a lot of time to engage, so like a Brimstone. If you're sitting on those players, their damage output is decreased by 60%. Stopping a Galatine Clapper coming in as well is also huge. But that takes
also
a lot
slows them down.
Yeah, it takes a lot of practice to like stop a Galatine player coming in engaging and you reacting to it. It's just so because he's invisible, you don't actually know where he is, but in your mind, you know where he's gonna be. Is he gonna Galaclap 3 healers off to like the left, or is he gonna Galaclap the 10 people clumped together to your right? Where is he gonna clap, right? It's pretty obvious. So you're gonna sit on top of the group of 10, and that's when you pop your Guardian armor and you mitigate that engagement.
Well, the other thing is, like, as a tank, if you're going deep in the back line, you can slow down all their DPS, you can decrease their damage. I mean, it can be huge.
Yep. Like I see a lot
Also-
of Grovekeepers engage and then they pop their Guardian armor. That doesn't really do much. It's pretty much useless. So yeah.
Yeah, like the other thing is also not to like underestimate the value of the auto attack stun if you're like on a healer or something.
That's true. Yep.
Or even a siege bow. Any questions in Discord, guys? Tanking or shot calling, etc. I know some of you guys jumped in here late, so feel free to ask questions.
Your locust. I know you said earlier you spoke a little bit about how they should be holding their E's, but what would you say, like how would I know, for instance, that I should be holding my E in a situation, say 4 people get pulled in and the enemy engages on them? Should I drop my E on that, or should I hold it for later, if I'm playing locust, for instance?
So it kind of depends on the scale of fight that you're in, right? If it's 4 people getting sucked in and you're in like a 100 versus 100, you're going to save your locus for a bigger engagement. Those 4 people will probably be able to live. But for example, if you're in like a 20 versus 20 and like 4 people, say like a healer and a bunch of tanks get sucked in, that's probably when you're going to want to use your locus just to save them. Like, it scales with the fight that you're in. Like, larger fights, you're gonna save it until like the massive engagement comes in. Smaller scale, it's all about protecting as many people as you can. So it's also using the is it the shield that you have that you can place on people with the locust?
You can place a shield, yes. And
Yeah,
you've
yeah.
got a
So
cleanse on your W as well.
yeah. So cleanse, always use that. On your Q, probably just keep that for like the frontline tanks. Always apply that so it relieves the pressure of the heals needed on the front line, so the healers can try and focus to keep the clothies alive rather than the frontline tanks. Like the protection bubble is a god save for anybody that's frontline tanking.
Well, for new players, could you kind of explain the difference between offensive locus and defensive locus? Really
Yep.
quick.
See if I can show it here actually.
And do you have any video of either you, well, I got one or two of me, like playing really deep backline, minimizing the damage with pod one?
Yeah, I might have it here. So this was actually this is a pretty shit locus here. So this right here, actually, finally. Okay, ignore this locus. This locus is irrelevant. It's shit. It's a wasted locus, right? So the boys here are getting clumped. This is a good engagement. This is an offensive locus. So it's going to be stopping a lot of the buffs on the engagement that we just had. The Camling brought it in. The tanks are going to be looking for an engagement. This is a good offensive locus. It's a good clump for people to focus on.
Can you explain what an offensive locus actually does? Sorry, I know there's some newer players here.
Yeah, so an offensive locus purges all the positive effects on an enemy player. So, for example, if they're getting heals and shit, all that shit, pretty much all their buffs are gone.
Cleanses night helms, all that good stuff.
Yeah. And as you can see, it was pretty effective, and we got a couple kills here. Defensive locus is so when a Zerg fully engages yours, you're going to want a locus placed directly on the engagement itself, so it spreads out over everybody else. It buffs your resistances, and once again, obviously, it cleanses you and the enemy at the same time.
Would you say as a defensive locust, if you've got a bunch of halberds and gallatines with Hellion jackets standing on top of your backline, would you say dropping a locust on that to purge all the Hellion jackets is a good move?
Yes, 100%.
That would be a defensive locust.
Yeah, that would be a defensive. Because you're defending your backline. See, this here would have been perfect placement for a defensive locus. On top of this bomb squad coming in, it's about to hit our backline, right? See it coming in on the south here. I see it. I react with my Grovekeeper E because I don't know if anybody else is going to do it, and just trying to stop their engagement. And then I put my Guardian armor, the purple circle around me. So all the damage output that they're putting out right now is reduced by 60%. That's a defensive play for me, which stopped a lot of people dying. And then they got wiped.
Yeah, Guardian armor is not to be underestimated.
Yeah, it's just knowing how to use it. Anything else?
Any other questions, guys?
I'm a bit curious about when to use demon armor.
That's a good question.
Demon armor, something I've never really played. So demon armor, it's a tricky one, right? Because most of the time you're going to send yourself to your death. But the main thing I would use a demon armor for is probably stopping any gala engagement. if you can see someone coming in with full stack Gala and they go invisible, they're probably going to be hitting your backline Clothies once again, like I said before. So popping your demon armor to stop or maybe even kill that Gala player coming in is huge. For hitting and reflecting a siege bow, for example, any channeled spell is really good. It's so easy to see on the floor. And if you have like a clump of tanks sitting on it, you pop the demon armor and that siege bow player is dead pretty much in one tick. So it's
Brimstones too are pretty easy. If you see
the
you see them
brimstones
spooling
don't
up.
get reflected. Yeah, brimstones don't get reflected. So it's pretty much siege bows and galas are the main things to reflect if you're playing demon armor. And blazings, which is kind of rare to see nowadays.
Sorry, yeah, blazing. Sorry.
You can also use it against the new Ever crossbow.
Yep, that's true as well, yeah.
Yeah, blazing. Yeah.
So this engagement here is actually really good by final order. They know the engagement's coming in, right? We kind of gave it away. We're all popping our sprints. We all have our night helms popped here. Watch the defensive locust come in. It should be any time now. There we go. Their defensive locust, pretty much perfect placements, because the time I come in, it's just purge my night helm. I'm in there, and all the DPS now have to run through those tiny choke points back there, and they're all going to get purged anyway. So it's pretty much stopped that engagement. Albeit they still get a little bit clumped, but look how much they've walked away from it when it could have been so different. Like I don't even think they lost a single person on that engagement. So like once again, reading the enemy Zerg is key in a ZVZ. Anything else? Anybody?
Question from Grams. Probably a pretty obvious one, but like I'm a Camland main. What would be the next thing you would suggest I spec into? Would probably be hammers, right?
Yeah, probably hammers. Like because as a Camland player, like you know what the skill does now, right?
Yeah.
As a Grovekeeper, you know what you're going to be looking out for in terms of clumps and engagement. So
yeah,
going into that line is your next go-to.
And in all fairness, me and Robin are biased for Poglog, so
yeah,
just a little.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna ask earlier, out of the frontline DPSs, what you think is the ranking of them, sort of. But obviously, you're a Poglog man, so
Yeah,
a bit biased.
A little bit biased.
Yeah.
Poglog for life. So I have a quick question. When you're trying to split a Zerg with a hammer, or especially essentially the inertia rank Poglog, obviously is superior master log, but how does that actually work, and how would you actually do that on a choke? Just do you have any examples of you splitting a Zerg so you can show?
I don't have one for go-to, but for example, like, so here actually it's pretty good. Let me pull up my pen. So we've got me in the middle of the Zerg here, right? My main, wow, that's pretty, hold on. Remove that. Pen. Okay, there we go. So I'm in the center. My Zerg is up in this corner here. And we are getting flanked as well, which you can't really see, but look at the size of this blob down here. We are pinned up against the wall pretty much. Everybody else is enemy. What happens is I want to make some breathing room for my Zerg to heal back up and probably find a new choke to sit in. So I fully engaged. I'm going in for my Grovekeeper E, and I'm cutting off this whole entire unit here from the Zerg that's to the southwest. Their main Zerg is to the southwest. This group here is overextended quite a bit. So I fully engaged. And that's my goal here, is to cut them off. And the Galaclap comes in as a follow-up. That's probably one of the best Galaclappers you'll ever see in your life in this game. But yeah, now you see the front line. It's completely split. They've got nobody in the middle, and they just saw half of their Zerg, or a good chunk of their Zerg, get fucking one hit. The fear is in their eyes. They're gone. They're retreated southwest. And now my Zerg have enough breathing room to finish up the front line here and stabilize and get everybody top back up and do what we want to do. And that was a good reaction play, actually. So the Galaclapper here, fully stacked up. You see all the swords around him here. He's fully stacked, and I have my Guardian armor up in just a second. I'm still on cooldown. I see him. I know where he wants to go, because that's where I would go if I was going to be Grovekeepering my engagement. It's pretty much the same thing. I see it. I pop my Guardian armor. I'm moving. I'm staying on top of him, and I mitigated that damage. My ring is here. He's inside of it still. So I'm still standing on top of him. He goes in for his Galaclap, and hardly any damage output compared to what we saw before with Mosef's Galaclap. Also, Protection Bubble came out from the Arcane as well, with the Enigmatic Staff, which helped just a bit as well. But that's the type of like reaction you need to play like a Guardian armor. You need to have that insta like snap-on approach to someone coming in trying to clap your Zerg. And now look, my Zerg, after that split, we are free to move around pretty much, and now focus on final order coming in from the top, and not having to worry about the southwest for quite a while.
Does anybody here have the video of us scrimming Fricks? Anybody? So I know there was a lot of good splits on that one. No? All right. I mean, as far as how I do it is like, you know, you look for the weak spot in the Zerg, you go in with the Guardian armor, drop your inertia ring, and there you go.
Pretty
you
much.
split the Zerg.
Yeah. Like an inertia, if you're playing Grovekeeper and you're not playing Inertia Ring, like this video is already old, from February 2020, and I'm pretty sure Inertia Ring wasn't in then. But yeah, like Inertia Ring is probably the best skill to use on a Grovekeeper. Like you can do so much kiting, you can slow down the movement of the enemy Zerg while you kite in your Zerg resets. You can go deep into the backline of an enemy Zerg and then drop an inertia ring, so it slows down the movement of their healers. So if their front line's getting attacked and you drop the inertia ring in their backline, their healers are going to be so slow to get to the front line to heal their tanks that hopefully you're going to be able to wipe their tanks before the healers can get through the inertia ring. It's definitely...
You can essentially stretch out a Zerg really easily.
Yep.
All right, guys. Any other questions? We've gone pretty long here, and
I do one last. Okay. I think. Oh, so a while back you said about healers that we should sometimes heal the front line, sometimes don't. So do you have like a general rule of thumb on when we should heal the front line? Because there's like being a month that I'm not participating in ZVZ, but our rule of thumb was we pop our heals when we are actually resetting, not when we are engaging.
Yeah, so it comes down to like communication between the healers once again. Like I talked about it a little bit with how people that play Locust should communicate, saying, okay, I'm going to be offensive or defensive. Healers can do the exact same thing, right? When you're engaging, especially in the meta nowadays, if you're engaging, the return engage is pretty much instant, and it's always going to be on your front line pretty much always. So the healers should get it in their minds that when you're engaging, when your shot caller tells you to engage, should always instantly place a reset down on the front line now.
All right, makes sense. So we actually should then like divide, for example, if I have like 4 healers, 2 for engagings and 2 for resets or something on those lines, correct?
Yeah, pretty much along. Yeah, pretty much.
Okay,
Yeah.
makes sense.
Well,
Thank you.
ideally, if you have a really big Zerg, you really want, in my opinion, somebody calling the back line too.
Yeah.
If you can do it. So you have somebody calling heals and, you know, galas and other shit.
Okay.
All right, guys. Any other questions? I know there's probably a few, so let's get.
Yeah, actually. So I've been trying to come up with ZVZ content for like a SEA time zone when there's not really any prime time in the game. So beyond castles or like faction flag content, do you have any creative ideas for content in that vein? You may not. I'm curious.
What part of the world are you guys in
We're
at the
all
moment?
in the mists.
Oh, mist. Oh God.
We have access to
Yeah, we have
everything,
access to everywhere. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So if you're around the blue lock, especially around Arch, I know for a fact that they fame farm in static dungeons. Like small groups of like 10 to 20, like build up your like smaller scale shot calling and stuff, especially if you're going to be fighting in the mists a lot. You don't want to be like taking like 40 people to go dungeon dive, like trying to build up that core, so to speak. And dungeon diving is probably one of the funnest things to do, especially when you're fighting Arch, because it can get out of hand so quickly, and it gives you the experience of fighting outnumbered, and you're not relying on numbers. You're relying on the skill of your 20-man group instead of 100 people, and you give it like a good couple weeks of that constantly happening with like, I don't know, the same people
You're
over
probably
and
gonna
over
die.
again. You're gonna die, but you're gonna build that core, and it's gonna be a strong core. Yeah.
Yeah, you go poke a large group like Arch's Fame Farm, and pretty quickly you're gonna have 150 dudes up your ass.
Yeah.
Basically Red Tree.
Pretty much. But yeah, apart from that, like outposts and castles is always pretty much guaranteed content, especially over the weekends when it's castle loot.
Wacky hideouts in
Yeah.
that time zone.
Even getting like a small group and going flagging up for red zone PvP and like dungeons and stuff, or even like doing it like faction flagging is also viable.
Awesome, thank you.
No worries.
Any other questions, guys? No question is dumb. Just ask. A couple people message me some stuff. So. Anybody have any questions? All right, I think that's about it.
We're
Unless
done.
anybody else. Yeah, I think we're done. All right. Anything you want to say before we wrap up, Rob?
I hope it was helpful. I mean, I've never done anything like this before, so I don't know if it was helpful or not, but hopefully it was. Hopefully you guys learned something new.
Well, I'm hoping we can chop it up into little pieces and like we'll put out different, like sections and stuff. And
yeah,
I think there's a lot of good info.
Yeah, and if you guys like, my Discord PMs are always open, so if you ever need to ask anything, like, don't be scared to shoot a question my
Is
way.
Robin volunteering to be a mentor newbie?
No.
I'm gonna stream real quick.